Hey, yo, Pro Wrestling Podcast listeners, welcome to the show where we don't sing it, we bring it. Help us out and click subscribe to show your support. Guys, are you sick and tired of dropping $60 to $100 for the latest and greatest wrestling video game? Stop immediately. Go to Wrestler Unstoppable, available exclusively through Facebook. Create a wrestler, sign contracts, get involved in storylines, headline pay-per-views, even build your own corporation, all included in Wrestler Unstoppable, available now to all Facebook users totally free. If you want to become a member of the Pro Wrestling Podcast family, you want your name in the shoutouts like my buddy John down in Texas, then shoot over to patreon.com/Pro Wrestling Podcast. Sign up today. Loyalty rewards are available. $15 a month contributors, you can co-host an episode of one of our live shows. $7.50 a month contributors, you also could get entered into a drawing to do a live show with myself. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this show, episode of the Pro Wrestling Podcast. If you've got questions, comments, things you want us to touch on in the future episode, give us a shout at the Pro Wrestling Sound Off line at 267-642-1160. We'll try to get to as many of those conversations as we can in the next show. Don't forget to check out our homepage at frowrestling.com and see what it is that we are all about. So everybody, today we're going to jump into the news. We got a lot going on. It's going to be a busy weekend in the world of professional wrestling because we've got not one, but two major pay-per-view events or premium live events, depending on who you ask. And we're going to get into the current odds for both of those shows. Before we get there, let's talk about some other things in the news today. WWE news, Nick Khan is out speaking to Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics, who tweeted out a quote from Nick Khan talking about WWE Raw and the conversation about potentially making the third hour of Raw a little more adult themed, more like the Attitude Era, something that WWE's edginess has kind of gone away for quite a while. Ever since going public, it seemed like they've tried to take the real PG approach to everything, less blood, less serious violent interactions and things like that. And right now, with the popularity of the AEW brand and all the blood, violence, and gore you seem to find on those shows, it does not surprise me that they are thinking about doing that with Raw. I actually saw a different interview where they were talking about possibly expanding SmackDown to 3 hours, which would also be, there's people who think Raw is already too long. I don't necessarily disagree with that. But I definitely would welcome any more content because I'm a diehard junkie. I want to watch as much professional wrestling as I can, and I would love to see as much of it as I can. I might be in the minority, but for right now, everything WWE's been doing has actually been making me somewhat happy lately. Even the bad shows seem to be good enough, better than anything they had, even going back a year or two. So, possibility of 3 hour SmackDown, possibility of a more edgy Raw. We'll have to see how things turn out there. Other WWE news, Dakota Kai. Everybody was talking about Liv Morgan and how she got hurt in the women's tag team match, and that's why they had to relinquish the tag team championships. Well, apparently Dakota Kai, also injured in the exact same match with a torn ACL, will be out the rest of 2023 and who knows how long after that. And it's not good because the women's tag team division was thin to begin with. Now you're losing tag teams, two separate tag teams right out of the bat. And here's the thing. I understand you can plug Bayley into Dakota Kai's position and keep Damage Control going. The problem with that is I think that Damage Control was reaching a point where they were ready to move on possibly and do a split there. And now it complicates things with the rest of the division being so thin that you may have to leave Bayley and Io Sky together just so that you have another legitimate team to challenge in that division. I fully expect Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey to win the tag team championship in short order. But what else is there? I know Raquel Rodriguez now with Shotzi and that's a possibility, but there's really not a lot of depth, and that's something WWE has struggled with recently to keep up with. Hopefully they do that going forward. Sticking with the topic of the women's division, Mercedes Moné, serious ankle injury, breaking her ankle in the New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Women's Championship tournament against Willow Nightingale. Unfortunately, that's going to sideline her for a significant portion of the time. There were a lot of people who were hoping to see Mercedes show up at All In Wembley Stadium, to see her show up in Impact Wrestling and do some things there, maybe with Mickie James or something like that. But at least for the short term, it looks like that is not going to be possible because of the injury that she sustained to the ankle at that show. Moving on to AEW news. Apparently, with AEW Collision coming, they're having a little bit of trouble moving tickets for the shows that are coming up. The headline that came out on Wrestling Inc. was talking about how they're struggling to sell advanced tickets for their upcoming shows. There's not as much buzz for the tickets. And I think part of that stems from the fact that we still don't know what's going on with CM Punk. If he's involved in the show, and if it does actually take place in Chicago, I think that's like a dead ringer that Punk will be there. If tonight they announce that it's going to be at Daly's place in Jacksonville, Florida, I think that clearly indicates Punk won't be there, and that will tank the ticket sales. Not good for AEW, certainly not when you're trying to launch a new program, but what are they supposed to do? At this point, I'm going to be honest with you. I appreciate the body of work that CM Punk has put together. No talent is worth this much stress and strain. I would negotiate a buyout of his contract, get him out of the company, and move on. Put your money somewhere else where you can build more stars that actually want to show up and work with whoever you tell them to work with. And maybe that's the biggest trouble with AEW right now. Talent should not have this much creative input into what they're going to do. You're an employee. You're getting paid to perform. You're getting paid to show up. Show up and do your job. That is simply not what CM Punk is prepared to do. He wants to have Ace Steel be in the building. It's not up to him whether Ace Steel is an agent or not. He has a contract, and here's the reality. If he gets evaluated by some kind of medical examiner, deemed to be ring ready, and they pitch for him to do something and he doesn't do it, I would take him to court for breach of contract, make it so you don't have to pay any more money to the guy. Unless you were silly enough, Tony Khan, to have put full creative control into his character contract, that would be a problem. And that falls on Tony for being an inexperienced promoter if that indeed is the case. If that's not the case, stop trying to hold everybody's hand and be a great buddy-buddy with all of your talent. You can't do it. There's too many egos in the world of professional wrestling. You have to step up and be an owner. That's your job now. So if that's the case, it is time to move on from CM Punk if he's trying to put his foot down and not support the company. On the topic of AEW, let's get right into the current betting odds for Double or Nothing taking place Sunday, May 28th at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Starting with the 6-man tag team match, Isaiah Cassidy and the Hardys are a minus 1,000 favorite over Ethan Page and the Guns. I don't think there's any surprise there. With Jeff Hardy recently returning, you want to keep that momentum going. One of the ones that shocks me, Adam Cole versus Chris Jericho. They have Adam Cole as a minus 600 favorite, and I get it. It's important to keep Adam Cole's character strong. I'm surprised with the number of losses Jericho has taken in the last 6 to 8 months. If I'm making a prediction, I'm actually going with Adam Cole to win, but I don't necessarily like it only because I think Cole's got more time left in the ring than Jericho does, and I want to see more substantial stuff out of Jericho before he's done. Not that he's ready to hang it up by any stretch, but I just would like to see that. The tag team match between the Elite and the Blackpool Combat Club. The Elite is the odds-on favorite to win, minus 300 to the Blackpool Combat Club's plus 200. I'm sorry, I think the Elite have to win this because of the Hangman Page portion of the match. However, I do have to admit, I am loving everything that the Blackpool Combat Club has done lately. I think it's really good stuff, and WWE's really got their finger on the right part of the pulse for that particular angle. Speaking of, before I keep going with the card, I gotta say, if anybody didn't tune in to this past Friday night's AEW Rampage, you missed something with Swerve Strickland. That guy, what a performance. What an incredible opportunity. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. His performance at the end of the night, doing the chair shot at the end of the night with Keith Lee, all the stuff they did with Dustin Rhodes, just his demeanor, his stroll to the ring, everything was perfect. And I saw that, and for the first time I looked at him and I said, wow, this guy is a main event star. This is a guy you can build a company around. He had everything necessary, all the intangibles. I highly recommend checking that out if you haven't already. What an incredible performer. Back to the show, talking about Double or Nothing. AEW International Championship match. Oddly enough, Orange Cassidy is an underdog, but they don't pick any other winners. They just say somebody else is going to win. And maybe this is how you take the title off of Cassidy, because it sounds like they don't want to pin him, is have somebody else win the Battle Royal. I don't like it. I really don't. I think Orange Cassidy should keep the title in a match like that and lose it legitimately to somebody else at some point. Otherwise, it's just a shady way to win the championship. I think it's a terrible idea, but maybe if they're bringing somebody in for some big debut, maybe that's the way you get them over to start their career in AEW, but I'm just not a fan. The AEW TBS Championship match, Jade Cargill, heavy favorite over Taya Valkyrie. At some point, somebody has to beat Jade Cargill. I would actually have thought maybe Mercedes Moné at Wembley Stadium if she was going to be able to compete, but I have serious doubts as to whether she's going to be able to go that soon with a broken ankle. So I'm wondering if maybe Tony Khan was looking at that down the pike and maybe thinking that was the direction to go, but we'll have to wait and see. But as of right now, Jade Cargill, I don't see any way for anybody else to win that match. Wardlow defending the TNT Championship against Christian Cage. He is the odds-on favorite, minus 800. That's a super heavy favorite. No chance he loses that championship. And let's be honest, why would you have him? He's already won the thing 3 times, lost it all these times. It gets to be monotonous and ridiculous. When you add in the angle of having Arn Anderson in his corner and the Luchasaurus not being in the match and all that weirdness, I just think it's obvious Wardlow's going to retain. The AEW World Tag Team Championship, FTR, the minus 1,000 favorites over Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett. Here's the problem for me. I get it. FTR just got the championship back. You want to give them a lengthy run with the titles. They just re-signed. I get all of that. But honestly, I would give anything to see Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett walk out with those championships. If there's one match on the entire card where a heavy, heavy favorite, I would maybe pick the other way, it would be in this match. As a matter of fact, if I'm doing my predictions as we do this, I'm going with that. I'm going against the odds makers, a minus 1,000 favorite, and I'm going with Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett to win the World Tag Team Championship from FTR. In AEW, they have done a consistent thing of moving belts around way too frequently, with the exception of the International Championship, and I don't see any reason they couldn't do this, just because I think it makes a lot of sense to have FTR chase Lethal and Jarrett rather than be the successful defenders. In the AEW Women's Championship match, Jamie Hayter, heavy favorite over Toni Storm. I don't see any change there. They really have to take a look at their women's division and build somebody so that when we're doing these types of looks at pay-per-view cards or premium live event cards, that there's somebody that you would believe could possibly challenge for one of the 2 women's championships, because right now I don't see it. Maybe Britt Baker at some point with Jamie Hayter. Maybe Britt Baker goes after Jade Cargill. I could see that possibly down the road. But right now, I see nobody taking either one of those women's championships. I'm going with Jamie Hayter. And the main event, the AEW World Heavyweight Championship, MJF, the minus 5,000 favorite. I don't know if I've ever seen odds bigger than that. There is no chance MJF loses the belt. Now, here's the problem. I hate the match. I hate the match because you essentially bury 3 guys by letting 1 win. And you know what's going to happen in this match. At the end of the match, like, the other 3 are going to hit all sorts of finishing moves and MJF is going to sneak in and steal a win because his character is that kind of guy. He doesn't win anything with his own merits most of the time anyways. And that's just what I see happening here. I hate the idea. I hate the match. I hate having 3 guys get buried at one time, but that's kind of where we're at. Moving on from AEW to WWE, once again, the Night of Champions card. We're going to run down the odds there. In the Becky Lynch versus Trish Stratus match, Lynch, the odds-on favorite there again. I actually think of this card, that may be the one that goes against the odds makers. As a matter of fact, I'm going to pick Trish Stratus to win because we need to see a rematch at SummerSlam, and I think it makes a lot of sense to have Trish win here and lose at the bigger event in the summer. Brock Lesnar, minus 180 favorite over Cody Rhodes. I think the difficulty here is it seems so obvious Lesnar has to win. Certainly the odds makers agree. And it does add an element of, the need for a third match, possibly at SummerSlam. I'm okay with all of that. The concern I have is you kind of have an opportunity here where Cody Rhodes develops a reputation of overcoming insane odds. Last year with the torn pec and going through Hell in a Cell. This year, the kayfabe broken arm going against Brock Lesnar. If he were to win this, the last mountain to climb, the improbable, would be the Roman Reigns barrier to him, finishing his story or whatever. I think if you have him beat Brock Lesnar, it adds another element to his character, something that makes him even more, not that he wasn't believable to beat Brock or Roman before, but it makes it even more believable he's going to beat Roman the next time they step in the ring. But odds makers have it a minus 180 Brock Lesnar, and quite frankly, I actually think that's what they'll do. I don't know why, but I think that's what they'll do. And the other reason I don't like that is Cody's first win was kind of like a really strange schmaz finish anyways, that quick roll-up thing. So I don't know. I hate to say it, but I'm actually going to believe the odds makers here. Brock Lesnar wins, minus 180 favorite. Intercontinental Championship, Gunther, minus 5,000 favorite over Mustafa Ali. This match doesn't even warrant me having a conversation. Mustafa Ali has absolutely zero chance of winning that championship. Watch him win it and make me look stupid, but I just don't see it. The Undisputed Tag Team Championship, Solo Sikoa and Roman Reigns are the underdogs to Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. I think we will see the Usos get involved, cost Reigns and Sikoa the championship, leading to a match down the road, another premium live event between the four men, and Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens can move on to their next feud. They're going to retain. I agree, they're going to retain so that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens can take on DIY when they reunite a little later this summer when Tommaso Ciampa returns to the ring. That's where my head is at. That's where I think WWE is as well. I said earlier there is nobody who is a bigger favorite, I usually say, than when I said about MJF and then Gunther, but the minus 10,000 favorite. Talk about those odds. Minus 10,000. Rhea Ripley over Natalya. Again, don't even need to talk about it anymore. Rhea Ripley retains, no questions asked. The Raw Women's Championship, a lot closer. Bianca Belair the favorite, minus 200 to Asuka's plus 150, but those are tight odds. I think Belair retains just because they're trying to give her this really long historic reign, but there is a chance they flip that one. We'll have to wait and see. I'm going to go with Belair as well. And the one that almost breaks my heart, I'm happy and sad all at the same time, the WWE World Heavyweight Championship match. Seth Rollins, the minus 1,000 favorite. We've all been saying it since the announcement of the championship that he was the guy who's going to win this. And I've been on board with that the whole time because I think he's the workhorse. He deserves it. But now that he's facing AJ Styles, I'm having a tough time. One, it's no secret. Anybody who's been listening to this show for a long time knows I'm an AJ Styles diehard fanatic junkie fan. I would love to see AJ walk out with that championship. However, there is some other storyline there. You talk about Seth Rollins being the first guy to win the NXT championship, first guy to win the Universal Championship. Well, in that match for the Universal Championship, and then this time for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, which they're now saying may continue the original WWE World Heavyweight Championship lineage, which I think is funky since it's been gone. It was consolidated into the other championship, and I just think that's really strange. But whatever, WWE does what WWE wants to do. If they did what they were supposed to do, Ric Flair wouldn't be a 16-time world champion. He'd be like a 25-time world champion. So whatever, WWE is going to do what they're going to do. Antonio Inoki would be a WWE champion, but they don't recognize that. So I think they probably will put the belt on Seth Rollins. I'm okay with it. I love Seth Rollins too. There's a little piece of me that really wishes AJ Styles would get this win. He has not been in the world championship picture for any substantial length of time, anytime recently. And I just think it would be nice to see him get an opportunity to carry the flag one more time before he finishes off his time. That's all the time we have for this episode. Check back with us next time for the latest wrestling news and rumors. Special thanks as always to bensound.com and purpleplanet.com for producing any music and sound we use on our show. Today's show is sponsored in part by Beazle Games. Bring a new friend to family game night. It's easy with sketchy people. Showcase your artistic side in this game from Beazle Games by going to frowrestling.com and clicking the icon in the middle of the screen to pick up your copy today. And if you're looking for your next career move, you're considering college, university life, maybe you just need some formal training for your next career decision, go to our sister website at frolifeplanning.com for all your higher education needs, as Fro Life Educational Planning is for today, for tomorrow, and for life with Fro Life. I'm Fred Froelich, better known as Dr. Fro. I want to thank you for taking a few moments with us for this episode. And one last thing. Saturday night, June 3rd, Norristown, Pennsylvania, Eisenhower Science and Technology Leadership Academy, Worldwide Wrestling Alliance will be there. I will be there. It's the rematch. Dr. Fro, Slim Whiskey. Last time, Slim, you brought your lady friend, LaWanda Sassy, and she almost cost me the match. This time, I'm coming back, and I'm not coming alone. I'll see you in Norristown, June 3rd. And anybody from the Fro Wrestling Podcast, make sure you stop by and see me before you leave the show so we can get a picture and sign some autographs. Take care, everybody. Have a great night.